though, like... So then in the past, I would say the way that almost felt like it was done was that basically while Clem and herO meet in, like, say, round 2 here, they would still be, like, the top seeds up to, like, the round of 8 or something, right? And then the rest of the bracket for them would be quite easy. And then it was almost as though, well, it's like, well, you basically just play the round of 8 match early, and then the players go through everybody else that they would usually go through before the round of 8, for example. And then it's almost like, well, you know, it gives us a match early, and it doesn't actually affect too much the tournament, because these players would have just met in the round of 8 instead of just the second round, so, you know, I don't know if that's still kind of necessarily the same. I don't necessarily think it is. I think it is just random. That's one of the ways it felt like it worked way back when we did Kung Fu Cups in days gone by, I suppose. As we kick off, herO in the top left-hand corner and Clem in the bottom right-hand corner as we get today started. Obviously, a little warm-up Clem Cyan series. Clem looked very good there, and boy, does he need to, obviously, if you're going to take on herO in the next round. Although, worth saying that, yeah, obviously herO has not had a great PvT as of late. You know, his PvT has been struggling to say the least. As Clem will supply depot block this wall off, so just going to make that a little bit of a complication. But yeah, Clem, you know, herO's really had PvT struggles. And we'll see if he can kind of fix it up here. We saw it yesterday against Björn in the WardiTV Open. We saw it, we've just seen it a lot in general out of herO. Just PvT is his absolute downfall right now. And apart from that series against Bunny that he absolutely stomped in Gamers Without Borders, it's difficult to say what herO, you know, when heroes really looked good in PvT last. I mean, it was a while ago at this stage. This opening from Clem going to be that factory. And by going into the factory initially, we can obviously get that tech going a little bit sooner, and then head into the natural expansion just a bit further down the line. Keeps you very safe against an aggressive player like herO too, so that obviously makes a lot of sense. That's something that we expect to see happen here, and we are going to get to see it happening as we go by. Yo, Tired Universe, thank you so much for the 100 bits Wardy has made just for SC2. Yes, SC2 is my life. I don't cast enough games of StarCraft every day. I actually just shrivel up and disappear, so just gotta get my StarCraft sustenance to keep things going. Amazing this Kung Fu Cup, though. I talked about this a lot last week, but obviously the players it attracts, the quality of play, and just in general, the quality of play we're getting in online events in general at the moment is really freaking awesome. There's a couple of Reapers will make their way forward, joined by a Hellion very soon. I mean, it's not every day you get to watch Clem vs herO further in this bracket. Maru's going to be playing as well. I'm sure we'll try and grab some games from him. Max Packs Q is happening over on the Chinese stream too. Not sure if there's a clean feed today, actually. So the other day there was actually a clean feed for this, so we could actually watch the games the Chinese stream was on. So we could actually jump to that kind of between matches if we had downtime. I'll have to check on that if we do end up with some downtime. I kind of forgot about that until just now, so I didn't check for it just yet. Reapers and the Hellions don't do anything so far. Obviously, you saw going across the map, there was just a couple of Adepts here working on a wall off. We've got ourselves the battery in place as well, so that battery is going to act as a good defense. You know, pretty much deters any real commitment as Clem tries to hop up here, but that wall is good. herO not letting anything slip in, and you cannot see the Stargate from that position. If the pylon's not part of the wall, you cannot see the tech structure on it. So the so the Stargate here is not seen. Phoenix not scouted. So Clem playing a little bit in the dark outside of the units which he spotted. Obviously, he has seen its Adepts opening. Maybe can take a read from there. Clem's own follow-up just going to be into a tank. Stim. I mean, he's got 3 racks already. It's 3 racks before a starport. Obviously, you have the factory before you expand even, so it's not kind of like a full-on 3 racks, but 3 racks with a little bit of tech to go alongside it, you know? A couple of those tech units to help you out. Phoenix kind of getting to the point where they're like, this was, you know, it's been a little while. Haven't seen a, you know, drop coming in. We've obviously, you know, we know the timings here roughly, so that ain't coming. Time for us to move out. They hunt down a bit of the Reaper Hellion. And from here, of course, map control can be taken by these Phoenix as well. A chance for them to go across the map and to, you know, really get in and involved and see what can happen. As Phoenix gets a lift, Hellion will go down. Obviously just removing all of that from Clem. But Clem's got, you know, Cyclone, a few Marines. I kind of like this little squad. It's not you know, it's not super terrifying, but it's just like a little kind of forward, you know, setup just in case a few Phoenix fly forward. Maybe you can get a grab, bit of damage done. Gonna lead the charge as the rest of the army come in as well. Clem really wants to try and press the issue here, see if he can get these units in a position and make some use of them. That's quite a few SCVs being pulled, so he's very serious about this attack. Great hallucination from herO. Spots the SCV pull, so knows how serious this is. He already had batteries on the way. Now he's going to add yet another one too, so herO's already been pretty proactive about this. Let's see what the Immortal can get shots onto. Obviously, if it can hit the siege tank, then brilliant. Stim is done. As we dive on forward, battery is going to get taken down. Next battery a bit further back will be a target too. Cannot overcharge, because obviously this is a situation where, well, yeah, you are playing without a Nexus finished yet. So, on overcharge for now. This base looks as though it will be in some trouble. SCVs and a few Marines continue to chase this army down, in fact, and we are pretty much clearing up, and herO, well, he needs this Colossus to show up right now, but it's too late to save the base. This Nexus will fall, and Clem already a strong start. But, remember, I mean, he does all of this. The SCVs are still off the lines. They are not back on the other side. 37 to 44 workers right now in herO's favor. Let's see if the tanks can do enough against the Colossus. The Colossus is the big issue right now. The tanks need to work their way through that, because right now the tanks put themselves in range of the initial battery. Robo facility is on the chopping block as well here, as the tanks will move forward again. All of them re-sieging at the same time. A single Phoenix goes in, lifts up one of the tanks. We're going to see the Marines focusing on dropping those Phoenix so that the tanks can get back on the ground, and then they can target by the Colossi, but the super battery is going to allow the cleanup here, keeping the Colossi alive. Beautiful cleanup in the end from herO. Do like what Clem did. He didn't try and force the issue against those two Colossi. He said, okay, right, I see what's going on. You've got the splash damage necessary. You've negated my tanks. I'm just going to back away. And I feel like a lot of Terrans in this scenario would have just ran on in there, tried to get the Marines to get a kill on the Colossus, and just like, it's all or nothing almost. But Clem was very happy to say, no, damage has been done already. Happy with what I've done here. Gets a cancel on this base. I was going to say, it would be amazing if he can do this without having to stim, as he unfortunately turned a few of the Marines the wrong way for no real reason. I think just a pathing error because of rocks and so on. But yeah, I was going to say, just nice he didn't have to stim there, because obviously he's already low HP, and he doesn't want to get his units any lower until medevacs are a little bit close to being done. We've got our starport up, but reactor isn't ready, so it'll take a while to get that going, and then we can start to produce some medevacs. So herO survives, obviously damage taken, but a pretty big commitment from Clem in the first place to be able to come across here and to do this anyway. So kind of a middle-of-the-road scenario where herO's had a pretty okay time. The fact he's come out of this alive and kept the Colossi up, most importantly, I think is huge. Clem is done enough to probably transition out himself. His medevacs are late, and that means he can't get on the map again for a while, and that gives herO time too. So, like I said, I think this really brings us back around to probably a pretty evened-out situation. You know, Clem's third CC. You can argue Clem's third CC is obviously on a good timing compared to herO's third Nexus. That might be the benefit here. Of course, like I say, Clem's tech a little bit lower, because even with these medevacs popping out, now we have to start thinking about when do we want to start building Vikings, for example, as an answer to these Colossi. There's actually already disruptors on the way from herO, so he's ready to just keep his tech going. Nice little stim, and we do at least grab one of the Phoenix. Boy, do those Marines need these medevacs to pop out and start putting some work in, though. This little group in the main have been hurting for a while as Clem to lift his third CC, and I imagine right now this move out is really just to get in position to protect that third CC as it moves across to the left side into the front, and we'll get set up over there. Charge is about to finish, +1 attack is about to finish. The single Marine continues over the left-hand side. Obviously setting up a bit of a perimeter to scout with. It's very important. You don't want this prism showing up, you know, with you being unaware or anything, especially if a disruptor's inside. But even just the prism heading into the main, or even just an army moving across the map can be important. It turns out this Marine wasn't necessarily for that, as it nearly gets the probe. He actually just wanted to spot the 4th base time, and he does get that info. Disruptor. I mean, that's a pretty sick set of SCVs. 5 workers. If I had to guess how many would have gotten going in, I would have said maybe 2 or 3, but 5 is actually pretty much the money shot. That's a nice grab. 2 SCVs go down for Clem. herO kind of needs it too. Economies are even in worker counts right now, which for a Protoss player is typically not a good sign. Protoss want to be ahead a few workers because the Terran have mules on their side as well, so I'm going to go ahead and say... that it's probably looking like Clem has still got a bit of a lead. I mean, herO's timing right now is pretty scary, though. His army's obviously pretty teched up. Disruptors and Colossi involved. Let's see what Clem can do. He's got a couple of tanks. He's got Vikings on the way, but not ready yet. I think this timing might just be beautiful from herO, just prior to Clem having the tech necessary to fight this, especially just not having the Vikings out. The Colossi can just kind of reign supreme. They are going to kill off a couple of these disruptors here. The few Vikings now showing up, but the Phoenix, of course, are going to make it so a low Viking count is not really that good anyways. And it looks as though Clem just losing way too much. 16 SCVs going down. The timing of herO, like I say, is pretty darn beautiful. Just really striking when Clem was at his weakest. A Ghost Academy invested into, Vikings being made, but none of it out on the map. None of the results of that investment showing just yet. And that's a big part of why Clem is going to be pretty much dead in this game, number one. And herO is looking good to potentially take a lead as we start out round 2 of the $1,500 Kung Fu Cup. Again, that's why all these awesome players are here. Tons of prize money on this event as Clem tries to drop around the right-hand side. That got seen. herO deflects it, and now we have 2 Vikings, Ghosts, and just a lot more setup continuing from Clem. But I don't imagine herO's going to give Clem the time to really use any of that. I feel like he's going to get ready to go in a moment. He's got a lot of Zealots still. His Observer sees everything, so he can choose if this is the fight he wants to take. Sends a preemptive disruptor shot out, grabs one of the new Ghosts. And like I say, the Zealots from the side are going to make it difficult for Clem to kite away easily. I think it leads into basically being the front line now, and EMP is good, don't get me wrong, but I mean, EMP doesn't matter if you still don't have enough damage output behind it. herO is going to survive, he's going to counterattack, and he's going to win this game number 1, as that was not an easy start for him. Results as the day goes on. We'll have a few more matches where, you know, results really do mean a little bit more as well. Obviously, right now we're still going through the early rounds, and pretty much this match and the Max Packs Cure series are the biggest fixtures, and Beyond Mirror as well, are the biggest features, or biggest matchups in the second round. So when we have some results from those, we'll absolutely share them. As we have got in the top left-hand side, the red Protoss player. This is going to be herO from Dragon Kaiser Gaming. He, of course, leads by a map here as well. Bottom right, the blue Terran from Team Liquid. This is going to be Clem. Yeah, the no seeding has gone a little bit crazy today with maybe a few too many awesome matches in the second round. Could we not have stacked them and have one of them first round, one of them third round, so we really could have watched everything? Gosh darn it. Cybercore coming up. Zealot on the way. Do you just cancel the Zealot? Yeah, cancel the Zealot to get the Nexus. Doesn't feel the need for it. Obviously build that Zealot in case you're getting Proxy dust, so you need it up to help you defend, but that's just not going to be the case here. And Nexus is coming down. Our factory build on the side of Clem gets that started in the main base. So yeah, just everyone kind of getting set up for the moment. CV going to come moving forward also. Also just on a little bit of an adventure coming back from the Scout. And we'll just be bringing that back home for the moment. Well, that's going to be the Proxy starport, a Clem Special. He absolutely loves doing this, one of his absolute favorite builds in the matchup, and he's going to get that going on this left-hand side. Starport is coming up, a couple of additional Hellions already building. Obviously, this looks to be the Hellion drop. See if heroes prepped forward. Yeah, Clem really has hammered this build heavily over the last, I'd say the last year, honestly, at this stage. It's been a long time that he's just been doing this build, basically what feels like on repeat almost. See if he comes down to the south, and a few Hellions begin to move out into the center of the map, so heading up into the center, up the left-hand side. Medevac is going to be popping in a moment or two from Clem. As the Medevac pops, we can jump into our Hellions and work our way towards this main base. Good. Now, what's hero's defense looking like? Stalkers on the ram. Okay, that's actually not great, because these Stalkers have to go around the corner as well to get to the mineral line. Hero's kind of wall of buildings here is going to work against him. 5 workers now we lift up, and you know why? Because the natural is undefended. A couple of Adepts will try and get down here, as Clem will see an opportunity to get a whole bunch more probes. Somehow we don't get many, though. And the probes, oh my god, it's escaping away. We lose a couple more in the end. 9 workers killed. It's a decent start from Clem, but honestly, the way it was setting up, it felt as though that could have been so much more. I feel like this happens so often where it feels as though we're going to get so many more workers, and we actually just don't get, you know, as many as we initially thought. Seems like it happens a lot lately, but anyways, all good. Medevac gets out of there. The few Stalkers are going to go and continue chasing. A couple of barracks are coming up on the side of Clem as well as he gets his 3-rack set. Usually, sometimes the biggest weakness here of the Terran player is going to be the counterattack of the Protoss, and, well, Prism's showing up, Blink is ready. We'll see if Clem has the numbers. There's only 26 probes on the map from herO. He's extremely committed to this attack right now. He's not rebuilding workers. This attack is, you know, go or die trying. Let's see if he can get it done as the Prism loads up a couple of these Adepts. We're going to begin moving forward. Hops into the main base. Stalkers coming straight through. Tank shot. Hitting a few of those Stalkers already. SCVs will pull it in. Siege tank gets knocked down. And we do have our Adepts just being chased around a little bit. Obviously, second tank getting set up. We do have a bunker here as well, which will help to solidify the main base. herO, good stalling damage, but he's still down by 11 workers. So there's still a lot of work to be done to get into a winning position here. Jumps in again this time. Takes a couple of volleys to get the tank, but he does get it. The SCVs pull quite late to repair the bunker. We have an SCV surround to help take down a Stalker as well. Our Marines putting in damage where they can. This is likely where we lose a lot more of these SCVs, and maybe herO starts to cut the gap between the two players in this game. We actually targeted by the low HP Stalker there. The one on the high ground going down too. And Clem is really reducing the Stalker count. I love the Banshee on the way, by the way. Unit that's A, pretty good when you've got some other units to help it out. But B, just a counterattack right now. herO does not have the investment to deal with a Banshee. Like, a single battery goes a long way, but he doesn't have the money to build a battery because he's behind. So playing from behind, he's going to try and play that catch-up and try and play greedy. Looks like Clem's not going to send the Banshee across, though. But what it can still do is it can then force herO to build batteries in the mineral lines. It can still be a, you know, something you have to respond to here as herO, and that's still going to kind of end up costing you as Stalkers dance. And the Banshee takes a lot of damage, pulls back. SCV should be able to repair that. Good micro from herO, not losing anything due to, you know, with the Prism micro continuing through as well. We get 4 more Stalkers warping in off to the left-hand side, and all these Stalkers together are going to reposition out to the front. Bunker's getting some damage done. The Prism just taking a few shots is going to go down. Prism will fall. That is pretty much the end of this aggression from herO. He's evened out the work count. He's got a Dark Shrine follow-up. That's maybe part of the reason why it's so painful to lose the Prism, not just pressure on the map, but that was how he was going to get the DTs on this side to try and get something done. Impact, combat shield, +1, all on the way through. A couple of DTs of herO will begin to move out onto the map. Away we go. Again, just has the Prism, so you will at least be able to elevate some of these DTs up into certain positions and help out with spreading the Dark Templar. Try and maximize damage. Our DT moves into the natural. We'll start slicing and dicing. Clem has turrets building immediately once he realizes what's going on. It'll take a few moments, though, to obviously get those up, and you lose a lot of SCVs during this, and herO chance to get right back in this game. Clem's army supply is massive, so what I think Clem really needs to do here is just find a chance to get across the map. You know, his army supply is huge. herO's had a lot of the Stalkers going down early. And the follow-up to this now being the DTs. If these DTs go down, like, that was an investment too that also cost herO a potential army that he would have built otherwise. DTs continue to slice their way through these depots. 13 SCVs are being killed. Our Marines coming over. Dark Temple all getting cleaned out. Have a DT over on the side as well. Prism trying to evacuate that and does get away despite the Viking. Again, what herO needs to do is buy as much time as possible. More DTs moving in, for example. Oh, he's going to get the Prism here, Clem. That's nice. That's going to stop some of the harassment, and that does give him a better chance to go across the map and utilize the army supply lead. No turret in this natural. Going to get a couple bunkers salvaged, some resources returned. He's got a third CC coming up, so he'll have more scans available in a moment. This DT will get killed. He's actually turning around with the main army. That part I don't love so much. I really feel like Clem needs to go soon. Otherwise, herO's really right back in this. I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit over-exaggerative because, you know, it's a 9-work difference. It's honestly kind of fine, especially with now triple mule available, although you're spending a lot of that energy on scans. Obviously, still just looks like Clem has a massive time, and at least until charge and +1 are done, before these upgrades are complete for the Protoss, I think Clem wins any fight he can take, so let's see. DT gets a swipe, and Marauder taking some damage. We scan, killing the DT off. And we begin to move in. First force field. Well, first force field is decent. This is the timing I said where, you know, I think Clem should win pretty much any fight he takes, and he is winning. The force fields were very good, though. I mean, they definitely helped herO to make this look competitive at least a little bit. DT from the other side, obviously, you generally want to make sure you still got scans available to stop these DTs from doing too much during the fight. There goes the tank, who have the power to just stim on top of these Immortals. The Bio units will see what they can do. All the Immortals will go down. There'll just be a few Stalkers blinking around to try and keep this going. Medevacs have to lift up. We have to back away. Banshee grabs a few probes during all of this. Will now go down, though, cleaned out, as Clem loses track of it, trying to do other things. And he's retreated his army back to the middle of the map as well. As he pulls back into the center, more bio units are still rallying straight through the middle. Tank repositions just slightly, and we do have a bit of bio just going to come stimming up. Going after a group of these Stalkers, damage being dealt. Stalkers try and take a step back forward, but the bio pulls back, getting out of the way again. Zealots going to start taking a bit of a blasting, couple of Widowmine shots to hit a bunch of those Zealots too, and a lot of those getting cleaned out. Prism also taking some damage. Our Stalkers again taking some shots. We're going to dive our way toward the natural expansion. Sentry's taking hits as well. Numbers are evening out in general. I mean, herO 5-worker lead, not so far behind the army supply anymore. I guess now it really comes down to just quality of army, and, you know, does what herO has good enough, considering the fact that Clem is playing with Ghosts and Mines against, you know, basically Zealot Stalker. There's an Immortal mixed in. I'm not sure how much we really care about that one Immortal. It'll provide a bit of tankiness, a bit of weight to this Protoss, of course, but enough? Not necessarily. DTs blink forward here. We have the scan available. Widowmines going to go off towards the Zealots, help out against that. We do have these Ghosts that are taking damage. Loses one. We're moments away from the EMPs. As Clem stands to fight, reinforcements showing up, and Immortal in the front will go down. Here come those two Archons. I think that makes a big difference from herO, having a couple of Archons to show up and really be able to stand strong and help push this army back, and that will be a big reason why herO is able to come out of this fight, having pushed Clem away. The Archon's just a bit too tanky for Clem when he was all out of EMPs. herO sneaking a 4th base down as well. 3 base versus 3 base, generally good for the Terran. The 4th base coming up from Protoss is really ideal. It's not in a great spot, though. I mean, you're basically stretching this map out to as wide as it can be. And while it's not the largest of maps, that does mean if you're defending anywhere over here, drop play up the left side into the main is going to be extremely potent. So that's why this base is definitely not preferred to, say, this base, for example. And sometimes even when you go to 5 bases, go over here or here, you know, that top right base is very rarely seen on Dragon Skills. It's almost a bit of a hidden base, even though it is in theory like a herO base. It's not super wild to see that base be taken. It's just, you know, it's so hard to defend that you're kind of hoping that Clem doesn't make any plays around that base, because if he does, yeah, you're just going to be in trouble when it comes to defending. These Liberators getting shot down at the moment, so they are not going to find too much success. They got cleaned up pretty quickly, honestly, as Clem Begins a push to the upper right-hand side. Libs obviously were taking a few units out of position. He's going to end up on this base straight away, and already dropped an EMP, hitting an Immortal, hitting a couple of sentries. They did get Guardian Shield off, but don't think that's enough to allow us to just justify going straight in here. Nexus will fall. We're going to grab a probe, and, well, this force of herO still pinging around. There is the move forward. In we go. Just going to be seeing a couple of Zealots charging forward. Bioforce getting to the sides. Another EMP available here. Immortals having their shields taken off of them, ripped away. Obviously makes them so much less tanky. The super battery, however, will try to keep them alive, try and keep things running for herO. But the supply is avalanching in favor of Clem, and it really is becoming a much bigger problem than it once was. Both these mines get burrowed as well, so it helps to clean out the Zealot line. And whenever you're clearing out the Zealot line, Clem is then pretty much just free to hit all these other units. His own reinforcements rallying across the map, and it looks very, very good for Clem here in this game number 2. And that means we're going to a game 3, which is always very exciting when you get players as good as herO and Clem going up against each other. Sign me the hell up. Couple of Widow Mines going off. Zealot's getting blasted. Bioforce just having a great time. Great EMP over on the Immortals. Taking those shields away, popping the barriers as well, so again, taking all of the tankiness out of the Immortals pretty much from the very get-go. hero's just going to GG out. I mean, he was kind of holding and holding, but he's not holding into a better and better position. He's holding into more and more doom and gloom, and eventually Clem's going to break him, so herO tapping out here is really not too met, and the game is without borders. Clem, TvT, Koreans isn't pretty, but yeah, I mean, this section of the bracket is just tough in general. As in the bottom left-hand corner, our Red Protoss player, just, I mean, fantastic job surviving in game number 2, despite kind of, you know, at first it kind of felt like he didn't do enough, and he really did everything he could to draw it out. It's herO in the bottom left. He had an impeccable hold in game number 1 as well. It's been a great defensive showcase from herO today. And while maybe not enough in this second game after the, you know, damage done early by Clem, still making a game of it in general, I think, is impressive. And, you know, having a lot of defense following up from that. I say defensive showcase, obviously, initially he was in trouble because the defense wasn't good, but defending while behind is, showing, you know what? Yeah, I'm just making a point that obviously makes no sense. In the top right, I believe Terran, it's Clem. He's had moments of defensive brilliance, herO, but it's not been, you know, a defensive masterclass, I guess, because that has definitely, you know, a lot of the problems have stemmed from the defense not being good enough. There you go. I guess that's a better way to summarize. I got a little ahead of myself. I got a little too excited, you know? A little too excited. Is this best of 5? No, this is just best of 3, guys. Best of 5 reserved for the grand finals today. Well, we're a lot of rounds away from that. This is only round of 32. So 16, 8, 4. At least 3 matches before our finals. Last week we were lucky enough to grab both the semifinals in this event, kind of hoping we get to do the same again today. I don't think that was necessarily a given. I think they kind of play it by ear. Like, if the two sides of the bracket are running at different paces, they will kind of just take the semis one by one. But if they're kind of like ready to start at the same time, I think both semifinals might just begin. So again, just we'll keep you updated on that a bit further down the line, and as the day progresses, keep you as up to date as possible. SCV Scout, just going to check in. Stalker on the way out, and now the Nexus coming down. Very late Nexus here compared to our CC timing of Clem. I mean, if I'm Clem, you got to be a little bit worried. This pylon over here is hidden, so it's a complete fake from herO. You know, he makes it look like there's a proxy on the map, and Clem's going to buy that. He's going to go scouting around with the SCV, try to figure out what's going on, even checking, I mean, the gold base, maybe even just checking if there's a Nexus over here. As he goes back, he will at least see the expand, and there isn't anything aggressive really from herO, so like I say, it's kind of a bit of a mind game early on, and it's definitely working. Clem definitely respecting it a decent amount in these early stages. The Marines came out, chased the Zealot away, now going to fall back to the natural as our orbital command will continue through. Tech Lab building up on the factory, engineering bay. Just sat in the back as well. We do see a couple of Stalkers, our Zealot, still joined up together. Dark Shrine is currently coming up. So that's why hero's just going to hit it. He's going to hit him hard with some aggression early and see if the DTs can get damage. I mean, DTs were great last game. Clem was unprepared for them initially, and obviously they were able to do so much. Full Prism is already on the way out from herO, so get that Prism out. And obviously that wants to go across the map and get the DTs interjected into the Terran bases. Prism massive because it can help you lift the DTs up into the main base, for example, and so on. As our factory lands to start a tech lab, another barracks on the way. Stimpack building, a couple more Marines coming through, about halfway done. This Prism going to be popping and heading to the upper right-hand side. Prism loads up a DT and he's going to go and jump into the main Marines. Going to get sliced there. We do have the DT in the natural again picked away. Marines going after the Prism, and Prism just about escaping away. DT turns into the mineral line for a few SCVs. Scan comes down. We get full workers. Good first defense, man. Turret on the natural helps a lot with this, of course. And yeah, this really wasn't that much from herO. Considering the investment of DTs early slows down a lot of your other tech. You're playing a game with no charge, no blink right now. Those are upgrades which are almost essential when it comes to really kind of being viable in TvP. This DT is going to play with fire as it does get one Marine. Obviously, the Prism was there to lift. You've got to be instant with your lift the moment the scan comes down and make sure that DT doesn't get picked off. Prism taking damage. And yeah, just solid defense from Clem. Definitely a good start from him. 5 additional gateways building up from herO as he gets ready. Make it 6. As he gets ready to go into that charge Archon follow-up, and he really wants to swarm this game with the Zealots that he can make. I mean, you pretty much have to. If you're going to go Zealots as your main thing, you need to have a hell of a lot of Zealots, to say the very least here. So, we're kind of heading that direction as our Marines. 3 of them on a mission to kill a Prism, but it was meant to be 4. One of them got swept aside by a DT immediately, and they just didn't have quite the gap closing ability to get that Prism. And DT again, nearly getting a shot off. Watching these interactions, pretty much the one thing that's going on at the moment. Stimpack done, of course, seeing these Marines stim around, but it's about to be joined by combat shields being done, and +1 attacks on the way a bit further away at the moment. Prism at the front, just with that DT, and again, charge, storm, both on the way out, an additional High Templar warping in, so again, these DTs, High Templars already spread around. When Clem pushes, he's going to have to be extremely careful of the storm. Storms can make or break this game for Clem right now, because if they land badly, Clem might just be able to overwhelm and win. If they hit hard, then Clem's going to lose a lot of army, lose a lot of momentum at this point, and everything can kind of come tumbling down from there. So, an important few moments coming up as Clem is potentially going to move across and first see the High Templars and the Storms. See how he does against us. This DT still just holding position to front. This is going to force a scan. Oh! Okay, the Storms have broken Clem. That is disgusting. The Storm drop, I wasn't even ready for that. Neither was Clem. Prism just shows up and boom, boom, bang. Clem loses so many Marines, hurting the rest of his army. Now he's going to have to step back a little bit. herO is ready in an army to maybe come forward and go for an attack into the natural. Just going to stand here. We do see Azel's going to come charging forward. High Templar going into the back. High Templars will be killed, so the Storms did what they needed to do. They zoned this bio from kiting away from the Zealots and everything. This one Archon, these couple of them all honestly just need to get forward and fight the units right now, I feel like. The issue at the moment for herO might have been that those tech units were just not really part of the battle. But doesn't matter. That's going to do it. That's going to be GG's. herO is going to take Game 3, and a 2-1 victory sends him through over Clem.